The forest stood at the edge of town. It had no official name. Most people just called it the Blackwood Forest. Or, sometimes the Whispering Woods. It was an old place, very old. The trees there grew tall and close together, their branches twisted like gnarled, bony fingers. Reaching, always reaching. No birds sang in those woods. It was always quiet, too quiet. Everyone in town knew to stay away from the Blackwood Forest, especially at night. A rough, barely visible path led into it. Or, well, what used to be a path. Now it was mostly weeds. An old wooden sign lay rotting on the ground nearby, the words on it gone, washed away by rain and time. Even on the hottest summer days, the air at the forest edge felt cold, a chill that seemed to crawl under your skin. Locals told stories of things lost, things that went into the woods and never came out. The forest had a strange feeling about it, a feeling like it was always watching you, yes, watching you with 1,000 unseen eyes. Shadows inside seemed to dance and shift, even when there was no wind. Every snap of a twig underfoot sounded loud, too loud, like a bone breaking. It was the kind of place where your worst nightmares felt like they could step out from behind a tree and greet you. The wind, when it blew, sighed through the leaves, a sad, mournful sound. Or was it a warning? Legends clung to the Blackwood Forest like cobwebs. Some whispered it was an enchanted place, a place of forgotten magic, deep and dark. Others said it was cursed, definitely cursed. Old Man Hemlock, who lived in a shack near the edge, used to talk. He'd say strange lights flickered deep within the trees on moonless nights. He swore the trees themselves moved, their roots slithering under the earth like snakes. No one really believed him. He was just a crazy old man. Then Old Man Hemlock disappeared one day, vanished without a trace, last autumn. There were 3 friends who loved adventure, or at least they thought they did. Liam considered himself the brave leader. He was always daring the others to do scary things. Maya was curious, always wondering what if. But she got scared easily, though she tried not to show it. Noah was the cautious one, the planner. He always brought a flashlight and a first aid kit. They were all 12 years old, and tonight they were looking for trouble. Or maybe trouble was looking for them, the idea to explore Blackwood Forest at night. It was Liam's, of course, a dare. "Are you scared?" he had taunted Maya and Noah. "Chicken?" Maya didn't want to be called Chicken, not ever. So she said yes, her voice trying to sound brave. Noah didn't want to go, not really. But he couldn't let his friends go into that creepy place alone. So tonight was the night. The moon was a tiny pale sliver in the dark sky, perfect for a spooky adventure. Or a disaster. Their preparations were quick and a little nervous. Noah made sure their flashlights had brand new batteries. He checked them twice. Click, click, bright beams. Liam brought a compass he found in his dad's garage. He spun it around. "See? We won't get lost," he boasted. Maya secretly slipped a bar of chocolate into her pocket. For courage, she told herself. They met at the crumbling old fence that marked the forest edge. Their hearts thumped, thump, 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 like tiny trapped birds against their ribs. The forest loomed, a solid wall of impenetrable blackness. With a deep breath, Liam pushed aside a low-hanging branch. "Let's go," he whispered, trying to sound confident. The moment they stepped under the canopy of trees, everything changed. The air grew colder, instantly. The normal night sounds, the chirping crickets, the distant bark of a dog, vanished. Silence. A heavy, suffocating silence. Or was it? Maya thought she heard something, a faint rustling like giant lungs slowly breathing. Liam gulped, his brave face twitched. "See?" he said, his voice a little too loud. "Nothing here." But his voice trembled, just a tiny bit. The deeper they walked, the darker it became. Their flashlight beams sliced through the inky blackness, but all they showed were more trees and more shadows, endless rows of tall, silent trees. The path they thought they were following had disappeared. Twisted roots like giant gnarled fingers clawed at their ankles, trying to trip them, trying to pull them down. Every tree looked exactly the same. A terrifying thought popped into Noah's head. Were they going in circles? Maya shivered and grabbed Noah's arm tightly. Then the strange sounds started. A sharp crack echoed through the trees, a twig snapping, but it sounded too loud, too heavy for a rabbit or a squirrel. Then another snap, closer this time, behind them, to the side. They couldn't tell. A soft sighing sound drifted through the air, like someone whispering, just out of range of hearing clearly. Did you hear that?" Maya stammered. Liam scoffed. "It's just the wind, scaredy cat." But the air was still, deathly still, cold and heavy. Shadows writhed and danced at the edges of their light. Their own shadows stretched and distorted, becoming tall, thin monsters that stalked them. But then, there were other shadows, quick, fleeting movements. There and gone. Too fast to be an animal they knew. Too dark and shapeless to be anything human. Suddenly, Noah's flashlight flickered. Once, twice. "Oh no," he breathed, his voice tight with panic. He shook it hard. The beam returned, steady for now, but a cold seed of terror had been planted. It was starting to grow, fast. The brave faces were beginning to crack. Liam wasn't swaggering anymore. He kept glancing around, his eyes wide, darting into the darkness beyond the light. Maya walked so close to Noah she almost tripped him. She kept looking over her shoulder, expecting to see something horrible. Noah's hand, gripping the flashlight, was slick with sweat. The chocolate bar in Maya's pocket was completely forgotten. "Maybe," Noah said, his voice a tiny squeak. "Maybe this wasn't such a good idea after all." The whispering sound seemed to agree. It swirled around them closer now, mocking them. Suddenly, without any warning, Liam's flashlight blinked out. Then Maya's, then Noah's. Darkness. Utter, complete, terrifying darkness. A choked gasp escaped Maya's lips. Liam let out a small, frightened yelp. "My flashlight," Noah cried, his voice trembling. "It's dead!" He fumbled with the switch, his fingers shaking. But it was no use. The light was gone. The batteries were brand new. How could this happen? The blackness pressed in on them, heavy, suffocating. It felt like being wrapped in a thick, dark blanket, a blanket made of fear. A sudden icy gust of wind swept through the trees. Strange, because the branches above seemed perfectly still. The wind carried a smell of damp earth, decaying leaves, and something else, something ancient, and very, very unpleasant. Maya gasped. She felt something brush against her arm. It was light, like a cobweb, but cold and dry, like old paper, or like a bony hand. She couldn't hold it in any longer. She screamed, a high, piercing shriek that tore through the silence. Liam, trying to regain some courage, shouted into the blackness, "Who's there? Show yourself!" His voice cracked. Only the echo answered him, or did it? A low chuckle seemed to ripple through the air. It came from all around them, from nowhere and everywhere. It wasn't a human chuckle. Oh no, it was deep, guttural, and filled with a terrible amusement. Then they saw it, or them, 2 points of light, glowing faintly in the oppressive dark. Eyes, not animal eyes. They were too high off the ground, and they were staring right at them. Panic, pure, unthinking panic took over. There were no more words, no more brave plans. They turned, they ran, blindly, tripping over roots, crashing through unseen bushes, scrambling, desperate, not caring which way they went, just away, away from those glowing eyes, away from that horrible, knowing chuckle, away from the cold touch in the dark. They burst out of the blackwood forest, gasping for air. Their lungs burned, their hearts hammered against their ribs. They didn't stop running until they reached the safety of the streetlights. They huddled together, shaking, and looked back. The forest stood silent, dark, waiting. What had they seen in there? Or perhaps the real question was, what had seen them?